Hi everyone, welcome back to Mission 1820 and this week's episode of Have You Ever Wondered? Now for those of you that are just joining us, we've been in a series called Books of the Bible, and we've been giving introductions into each book of the Bible in just 5 minutes or less. So without further ado, if you're ready, let's go ahead and jump into this week's book. This week we are in the book of 2 John. Now, this is a general epistle that was written by the Apostle John somewhere around 85 to 95 AD. And he wrote this epistle in order to encourage the Christians to not lose their focus on Jesus Christ and to warn them against persistent heresy that was taking place. 2 John makes clear what our position should be regarding the enemies of the truth. And if you remember from last week's book, we learned that 1 John focuses on our fellowship with God. But this one, 2 John, focuses on protecting our fellowship from those who are teaching falsehood. John the Elder opposes the false teachers who deny that Jesus came in the flesh. And he's encouraging a local church and its leader to continue to walk in the faith. The interesting aspect of this book is in the beginning of the book, where John addresses his letter to the elect lady and her children. This is a pretty mysterious phrase because we don't really know who this was, whether it was an actual woman and her children, or was it serving as a metaphor for the church and its congregation. But nobody really knows that for sure. Now, although the book is only one chapter, we still break it down into 2 parts. Part 1 is focusing on abiding in God's commandments. This is in verses 1 through 6. Part 2 is focusing on abiding not with the false teachers, and this is covered in verses 7 through 13. 2 John makes it pretty clear what our position should be regarding the enemies of the truth, and the Apostle John went so far as to warn his readers against inviting false teachers into the house, or even offering them a greeting, because it might appear by doing so that it might be aligning the believer with the evildoer. Because John was super keen on trying to keep the believers pure from the stain of falsehood and heresy. But we need to make something clear here. This doesn't mean that we should have nothing to do with those who are caught by the cults. As John indicates, what we do need to do is make a distinction between those who are teaching these Christ-denying doctrines and those who are merely believing the doctrines without trying to share or spread them. So, how does this book have application to us today? Well, John's strong encouragement to the believers involved loving one another, which meant walking according to his commandments. This echoes the teaching of Jesus in John's gospel when Jesus told his followers, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." You see, our love is dependent on our obedience, and when we don't obey, we don't love. You see, oftentimes we get in the mindset that our obedience to God affects only ourselves. But we know that that's simply not true, because in the end, every one of our decisions, whether obedient or disobedient, that does have effects that extend far beyond our own limited vision of that circumstance. John reminds us not only of the dangers of falling away from the truth, but also of the importance of making obedience a priority in our own lives, for ourselves as well as for those who are most important with us. So with that, I hope that this introduction is going to help get you started in the book of 2 John. So God bless, and thanks for watching.